Hello pilots, welcome back. As promised, the long-awaited Messerschmitt 210 video. A good one. 2-on-2 at the end of the day, so not a highly populated match, if you will, but still, it was a lot of fun, and everyone kind of did their best in it. So, and as someone else has said, the 210's a meme plane. I took it out initially because I really was flying angry. You guys ever fly angry, or something happens in a match, or you just kind of you're at the end of your rope and you're like, I'm about to kick some butt. So I've had some good and bad experiences in the community on these weekends like this, and had a bad experience in the match before this, and so I was kind of hoping that that player might show back up again in this match on the other team, and I was ready to wail on him. Sadly, didn't happen. So we're going to be on the offensive instead, and of course the 210 has these magnificent, massive bombs. One of the nice things about watching replays as opposed to OBS recordings is you get to see the bombs actually drop out, which is kind of nice. So great plane, 20s, 7s. It's everything you would want from a plane, a heavy. But it also retains a little bit of its maneuverability, which especially this tier is nice. And of course that boost speed to let you get through extended escapes. And also has magnificent tail gunning. And so a lot of these, the forward armament it really is a little bit weak at this tier, for all heavies really. There's not a super heavy firepower. I guess the Beaufighter counts a little bit, but so, the tail gun is nice for cleaning up those kind of low hit point stuff that you leave behind you as you pass them. And you'll notice as any good boom and zoom pilot, not doing a lot of turning here. I'm hitting, I'm moving on, I'm hitting again, I'm moving on. And we're not afraid to dive into the thick of it if we need to. We're especially wanting to catch other heavies where possible, because those can be problematic for us. Bots tend to, it's hard to shake them sometimes, and especially in a match like this, if one of the players F4s me and calls for a lockdown on me, it might happen. So got to keep your head on a swivel. So again, same thing there. You see, not quite enough to finish. We're just going to push on. That poor F2. So he's down tier. This is a 4-5 match, and so it's a little bit of a struggle always when you're the bottom tier. You have to play a little more strategically, a little less aggressively. If you're top tier, you can really kind of do a little bit of bullying on the match, and especially if you've got some good awareness and you're in a heavy like this at top tier. And we're just burning aircraft down. I'm not sure what it was in this match. Sometimes you just end up in the right place at the right time. But again, you see I was worried about this Beaufighter earlier, right? I'm just kind of trying to spiral him out. And fortunately, he catches my engine, which, one of the nice things, I do keep a restarter on my heavies because there's so often you just want to boost and escape. But the reality is knocking an engine out makes you more maneuverable, allows you to pull some tighter circles, and so that kind of saved me right there. I was able to loop out from under him. And now I'm behind him, and he's moved on to other things. And of course, I've got a bot who's picked him up as an opportune target, and I'm going to do that as well. And it's a kind of an internal argument I've had, because I've heard a lot of people, when the transition happened, were like, bots, it's terrible, it's not as good as players. I've wondered over the years, though, do you think the average bot is better than the average player? This is complex, right? It's not tanks. There's not just one dimension or two dimensions to be worried about in terms of, going up and sideways, right? You have 3 full dimensions, and you have to manage energy, and you can stall out, and guns overheat, and a lot of the stats are hidden as they are in tanks, but there's not a website you can go to unhide them. Ugh, AA grabbed me on that one. So I really do wonder if the quality of the game is not, a little bit higher with just your standard bots. Now, what bots can't do is strategy, and that's really irritating. And I do wish we had a little better control over where we sent them and how they would react to us. 9 times out of 10, for example, if that Beaufighter or something else has given me issues, what ends up happening is I call for someone to get on them. But if the Beaufighter's already on someone, it just pings the closest bot, which 9 times out of 10 means it pings the bot that's currently getting shot by them, which is not helpful, right? And I don't know how to code that out in a better way, but I do wish it was a little different. Again, kind of worried about these heavies, especially in SE 100. And I just managed to drag the entire crowd with me, so. And the tail guns are good, but they're not that good. So you can see we've already racked up 11,000 points, and but we haven't gotten any bombers through, and so I'm starting to have that anger quotient rise again, right? This is also where you love replays. it's bots flying everywhere. The issue with the replay system, if you don't know, is the camera is bugged, and you can tell right here, right? It's not the planes flying all over the place; it's the camera that's wobbling everywhere. In the same sense here, the camera is just off center and fisheyed a little bit, and that's why your perspective is always off when you're doing actual game replays. I wish there was a fix for it. There were some mods at one time that really helped kind of line the camera back up. But Wargaming, and I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but Wargaming is rearranging the guts of warplanes. The folders, the files, the organization, the internal file types of the client have all been changing over the last couple of updates. They are cleaning things up in there. They're creating some new problems as they go, but that's to be expected. And it really is interesting because I don't know why they're doing it. They're spending a lot of time cleaning up game files. And my suspicion is they're getting ready to make a push of some sort with the game. I don't know what that'll look like or what that is, and I don't want to overpromise, and I don't have any insider information, but it could just be that they are literally cleaning up the client to make it more palatable and get rid of some of the bugs for people. But whatever it is, that's one of the reasons why some of the mods have broken and haven't come back is the internals are just very different. So you can plug an old mod set in, and it's not going to do anything because it's trying to overwrite client files that don't exist anymore. Good example is a map like this. If you wanted to change some of the lighting or get rid of some of the cloud cover, you would go into a settings file, and there is no settings file anymore. Instead of 1 or 2 map files, there's a bucket of map files. There's 10 or 12 per map, and all that stuff is broken up. So I probably should have made better use of my bombs in this match, but there were so many targets of opportunity like this one where the Buffalo just kind of hung himself out in front of me again, that I just tried to make use of that. And one of the other things that I'm trying to do is, because we're not getting any bombers through, I'm just trying to burn down spawns. I know that's an issue for the defending team to run out of spawns, and I'm wondering if I can get them down enough that some of that last flight of bombers can get through and make a difference. So I finally remember I've got bombs. I'm just going to drop a little bit here. I know we're pretty close to flipping this zone. I don't have to hit big targets. I just need a couple of small ones, and presto, we're done. And I can push on to the next one. I do need to get some altitude back, though, on a low bombing run like that. This plane, as with a lot of the heavies, especially low-tier heavies, deeply relies on altitude to be effective. And that's one thing I see people missing out on a good bit with heavies. That altitude is really your friend. It's part of your defense. It's part of your offense, really, as well, your ability to dive on people. And so you need to manage altitude as well as speed. Again, just that's a horizontal pass, right? That's boom and zoom, but not up and down boom and zoom. That's horizontal boom and zoom. That's flying through the pack, dragging people with you, knocking off some criticals, getting some assists. And you'll see if you watch heavy fighters in this bomber escort mode, one of the things that makes the grade is assists. Now, that said, the scoring for grades is completely off for heavy fighters. So, if we do this again and the missions again are to get, grade 2 heavy fighter for an extra box, it's almost not worth your time. And I'll show you afterwards what I mean in terms of how much you have to do to get a grade 2 in a heavy fighter and bomber escort is pretty wild. It's certainly not something that you're going to anticipate doing well, maybe even at low tiers. And again, this is a 43K match, and I came nowhere close. You see 15 enemy aircraft is, just 3 on that wheel. And down I go again. We hit the end of the map here. I was trying to get a couple of our bombers through. Didn't happen. I'm the only one. It's 1v7, I think, at that point. And I was willing to make the sack just to get a bomber through. But unfortunately, no dice. So now we're really, kind of at the end of the stick here. We got to get these last couple in. But they're down to 14 respawns. And so I'm just going to go right back to what I've been doing, which is just shooting down aircraft, especially these heavies. Those tend to be a danger for our bombers, and so getting rid of them is helpful. You can see me using turret guns to clean up against some of these kills as I run by. This is the last one. This is the last 20 bombers, right? This is it. I'm just going to speed on. I know the case is a good heavy, but I also know that I can at least match his speed. I got a good bit of energy, a good bit of boost. I can always go up if I need to, and I'm just going to drag him around the map. It'll burn some hit points, but it's worthwhile. 1, 2, so another horizontal pass through there. You get 2 more. I've got guns on, chewing up the 2 PA there. Not enough to finish him, but enough to cripple him. So 20 bombers. Another bomber set's coming in 15 seconds. We got to get 10 of those 30 through. I've got them down to 8 respawns. So now I'm liking it. I'm going to head back towards those bombers, get away from this pack a little bit, make sure I don't go down again, because the respawn counter changes based on where you are on the map a little bit. Closer you are to enemy territory, the shorter your respawn timer is. When you get pegged back here, when your bombers are just starting, it's bad. And I'm at 34,000. Finnick is respawning. He did a great job in his ground attacker trying to clear out AA for us. So, head on it is. We'll just do it. I'm going to get a wing clip. And unfortunately, he took enough of mine off. That 50 caliber buff was very nice. And the P40 especially, as you guys know, is a little overpowered for its tier now. Especially given its flight characteristics. Fortunately, I get a quick respawn and we're back in it. They're down to 4, so we're doing good. I'm thinking, all right, I'm just going to pick off planes where I can. 3. Once they're in that last set, it's going to be hard. Once they're in that last set, once those extra free respawns are gone, you can only respawn certain plane types. And of course, I'm burning heavies right here. I know the 2 pilots of the enemy team are in regular fighters as well. Again, horizontal, just boom and zoom, straight through. Try and clear up the tail guns a little bit. And we'll go up. Straight line passes. As much HP as I can chew off of these guys, the better. And right now I'm dragging folks with me, right? You can see behind me. Just working on those tail guns. Working on that score. We're up to 38. The P40 is trailing me, but we're kind of outside the range of those, effective range of his guns. And he decides to break off. And this is always the point where heavies win, right? If you keep following me, you're going to chew me a little bit, but you're going to lose the match because you're not killing those strategic bombers. But I, on the other hand, if you decide to break off, now get a free pass at you. And unless you've got your head on a swivel, down you're going to go. And right there he does. My tail guns, technically it was one of our, I think it was the rear guns of the bombers, but they're down to 1 spawn. They got these 2 planes, which are 3 planes, which are very low health. And we got enough bots to really work it here. And we're probably going to get 1 or 2 of these planes in, I think. I'm hoping we will anyway. And then I realized, well, maybe not. Maybe we're not going to get them. So again, I'm just going to work these low health guys, try and clear them out. I also don't want to go down to the P40 again, so I'm trying to keep an eye on him. Dive to pick up speed. That's one of the things that will help me evade the P40 because I know he's coming for me. And as a bonus, I pick up another kill spawn. When you're evading people like this, by the way, I eventually don't have to, thankfully, because the match ends, because we end up getting an entire bomber flight through. But when you can kind of curve a little bit, force them to turn as they're climbing, it just kind of increases that curve that you have of superiority of extending and escaping in a heavy. So, climb at 25, 30 degrees up and, slide over 25 or 30 degrees. Use your ready control if you want to, just to slide it over a little bit, force them to curve, especially if they're turning. Keep them turning because turning bleeds speed, right? So maybe I can do a video on that next time. So this is what I'm talking about, 21 kills, and yeah, I maxed out this one, but look, I got 8 assists and I took down 8 bombers, and I'm a grade 3 fighter, right? Like, you almost have to only take down bombers if you want to get up to grade 2, and you really have to do work on those assists because that's the other thing that's going to help you out here. So tough to do, I think, a little tougher to do in heavy than in others, getting that grade 2 matchup, but who knows what it'll look like the next time they do a marathon like this. Speaking of which, 1 week from today should be the start of winter trials if they follow the pattern that they have been following with all of this stuff, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see some cool stuff. I'm kind of curious to see what they pull out as the winter plane this year. What kind of thing we're getting. I'm still holding out hope for something nostalgic at the 10-year anniversary. That would be great. Be great to see the SH Tandem back in the game, or the P51 JP. Some of the other planes that could be done as one-offs. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but there was another version of the 109Z that was in the game, the Messerschmitt 609 early on. Also early on, the 262 and the 109 had options for the 50mm cannon for the really long, and even the 75mm cannon, so that would be fun as well, a little bit of a dirt plane. But it does seem like they've been working on new models for some of these planes. These are things that were not in the game files and not planned. So it'll be interesting to see, with the Martin Baker, that was a new model, what the new model might be and what they might think would be fun to add to the game. We've had American, we've had British. Is this going to be a Russian fighter? Is this going to be German? We just had the Kurfürst, so maybe not. British, American, I don't know. This is going to be interesting, or is it going to be a Japanese fighter of some sort? And if so, what kind of experimental or offshoot warbird would it be? Is it going to be another of the Wunderwaffe, kind of German experimental aircraft that sort of kind of was supposed to end up in Japanese hands and didn't? I'm very excited to see what it's going to be. So there you go. Right now in the shop, I think you've got 229 and the JA, if I remember right. I'll probably do a JA video if that's the case. I do have that one. I'm contemplating buying the Horton. I'm just not sure I'm going to do well with it with the guns. We may have to experiment with that. Again, if there's things you want to see, let me know. Hit that subscribe and like button, and I'll keep churning out these videos for you. Can't do them every day with my schedule, but I'll try to hit you with 3 or 4 a week. Different things going on. And I do have a couple more already ready to go this week that I'm excited to show you, and some topics I'm excited to talk about as well. I love theory crafting in this game. It's one of the great parts. And so we're going to look at that a little bit probably in the next video. So until then, happy hunting, happy flying, enjoy the week, and good luck in this last set of Heart of the Griffin special modes. Attrition, my favorite, coming up, and we'll certainly have at least one video about that. And I hope you get all the boxes you're hoping to get this weekend. And I'll see you in the skies. If you want to flight up, send me a message. Happy to run with you. Catch y'all later.